Hello my friends, and welcome to my third full-length tutorial. Had a lot of fun putting it together for you, and I think you'll enjoy it. 3 colors, limited palette, black canvas, and a lot of fun. So paint along with me, just watch, enjoy, and we'll see you on the other side. Basically what we're going to do here, I'm going to explain what I've done on my canvas so far. This is going to be a very limited color painting. I've got some alizarin crimson, a dark mix here. This is mountain mix, and this I'll use for my underpainting on on everything basically. And we have some titanium white. The first thing I did was I covered the canvas in a coat of black gesso. So, black gesso. We let that dry. Takes about 20 minutes, 30 minutes to dry. Once that's dry, right before I painted here, I put a coat of Gamblin Clear Gel, which is this stuff right here. Gamblin Clear Gel. Basically, it's just like Bob Ross's liquid clear. Non-toxic. I like it a little bit better, so this is what I use. But I've got a very, very thin coat of that on here. And then over top of that, I then took some transparent color, in this case the alizarin crimson, and I just kind of spread the crimson out here and there. There's a little bit up here, a little bit here. I'm not quite sure where it is. I just kind of mushed it all over a little bit, but there are some spaces without the liquid clear, without the crimson as well. So then when I apply my titanium white over that, the white will pick up that crimson, and lots of cases will, it'll show through. So it'll be very cool. And what I'm going to do here is we're going to put a moon up here. We're going to have some clouds with the moonlight hitting the clouds. A big mountain here, and then maybe some trees, and maybe a little lake or river coming through here. We'll see. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick up. We're going to make a moon. We got to make a moon. So we're going to come in here and get some titanium white on my fan brush. Okay, we're going to come over here and touch a little bit of this crimson too. And a little bit of a red moon. Just a little bit. So we're going to load that up like that. That's about all we'll need. And now we're going to come up here and make a moon. So we're going to decide where we want the moon. I think we're going to put it, never like to dead center anything. You always have it to the right or to the left. So we're going to maybe put it about right here. And all you're going to do is take the bristles. This is an old Bob Ross trick. Just push in, twirl in a neat circle, and hopefully you get a nice round moon. So let's see what we got here. So we'll put our moon right here. Once you make a decision, go with it. Then holding that brush still, just twist. That top a little more. And get out. We can fix it. We're not looking for a perfect shape here. Good. So I'm going to come back here and clean up my moon just a little bit. My little filbert brush. A little bit of that white. Fill this edge out just a touch. There we go. Good. And that's about all we're going to do with the moon. All right. Let's keep her moving. All right, the next thing we're going to do, we got our moon in place. We're going to put some clouds around this thing. And I really don't want a lot of paint on my brush. I'm going to take the leftovers that we had from the moon and just get rid of that. And I'm going to just put a little base for my clouds in first, and then I'll come back and maybe highlight them a little bit more. So we're going to kind of ring this moon a little bit. So I'm just going to come in here, and that's even a lot. Let me get rid of that. Get rid of a lot of that color. And we're just doing little circles. That's all we're doing. So come up here maybe. here like that. Just take some of that same color that's left over. And again, so it's picking up that crimson that's underneath that I already put onto the canvas. There. I'm going to come and grab a blender. Just a big 2-inch brush. I'm going to blend this out a little bit. I just take the corner and kind of leave the tops, and we're just going to knock out the base. And do the same thing on this side. Bringing some of that color down. Again, not touching the top, just wrapping that bottom around a little bit. And the same thing over here. I like to paint with as little medium as possible on my canvas. And that way, I have to work it a little more when I blend. However, I don't get a soupy mess up here. So something like that. Alright, so I'm going to come back. Just a little more color here. Maybe this cloud starts here. We want to keep a little dark in between these clouds. Don't want to cover it. And you go both directions, counterclockwise, swirl it around. However, that's fine. Something like that. And again, we're going to come back and just knock out the bottom of this. And a little trick sometimes, like I find if you pull that cloud when you're blending it, pull it under a little bit. It kind of gives an appearance of the base without doing too much. I like to leave a lot of these brush strokes in there. Don't blend them all the way. There. That's good. Alright, come back with our brush. Get a little, just a touch, not even really touching anyway, just a little bit. Maybe this boy comes here. Across and get a brush, just beating that color out of it, and then come back here and run this boy out. Give a little fluff. Touch the moon. Bring him down a little bit. Something like that. Okay, so I'm going to come back here and add a little bit of highlights on the top of that, of these clouds. So I'm going to come in with my fan brush, just come in with some straight white. And just on these edges, some of the tips and the edges here, I'm just going to kind of rub it in. Little circles. I'll blend that out a little bit as well. Just getting the color on. Watch where that light's going to hit. More up here. Yeah. And then maybe a little less on this one back here. Again, just some highlights on the top. We'll come back again. My 2-inch, and we're going to blend this out a little bit. Okay, I'm not touching the top. Beating that brush out. Get that extra color off my brush. Just blending these out a wee bit. Here, just touching them, knocking them down a little bit. Pull this cloud out like this. Give it the appearance that it's coming to us. All right. So I'm going to come back here actually. I'm going to take that same brush. I'm going to stir in a little bit of crimson here and there where I feel like maybe it needs it. So just a little bit. We'll blend this out. We're just chucking a little bit of color in here on the shadow side, just to get a little color in some spots. A little bit of that crimson. Again, take my bigger brush, beat the paint out of it, and then come back and again just blend that in just to add a little bit of color. Again, not touching the tops of the clouds, just the inside to the base. Get that brush out. All right, very good. Round out a couple of these spots. Again, just blend that. All right, very good. Spill that color out, that's no big deal. Okay, we're going to drop a mountain in here. I may come back and noodle with those clouds later, but for now, I'm just going to pull out some mountain mix. We already have so much dark here, so but we're still going to get a nice little base here. So today we're going to put a mountain, let's see here, maybe this one's going to be a little more low-lying. So maybe we'll start our first peak here, right? And that boy will come down like that. This will come down like this. Have a little gully on this side. here. Come off that way. It's hard to see. I know we got black on black, but when I highlight it, it'll make a difference. You'll be able to see it. Okay, and then maybe this will come down, leave it here, and then we'll be joined by a peak here. And then I'll come down. Get that paint off. There. Next step is we want to get this paint off the canvas. I'm going to put a little bump there. I like to have straight lines when I'm doing my mountains. It's nice to have a little bump here and there. Maybe one there. Good. Alright, we'll scrape. Again, we want to scrape off as much of this underpaint as possible, because that will make the next stage of applying the snow much easier. So now we have that. I'm just going to take the brush that I blended with. Again, we're going to wipe it off on a paper towel to get that crimson off of there. And then we're just going to take this and pull this paint out. Just like that. Just pull it down. Same thing here. Pull it here. This side will come this way. Here will come down. Pull it out. We want to spread this paint down and remove the excess. As you can see, I'm getting a lot of dark paint in my brush. Remove that to make our highlighting of the mountain much easier. Very good. All right. Get rid of that paint. Then I like to come back with a shop towel and remove as much of this black excess paint as I can, just by dragging it down. Just getting rid of that excess paint, and it's going to make our next step much easier. And I don't even know if you can see that mountain or not, but it's there. It's kind of hard to see, but yeah, it is cut out across the top there. So now we're going to highlight our mountain here. And for that, we're going to use our knife and some titanium white. Oops, it's now got a lot of dark in it. We'll get rid of that. Wipe our knife off. Nice try. Alright, need some new white. Alright, so we're going to pull that white out. We're also going to put some crimson in there, since that's all over the painting anyways. Not too much. And we'll come back. A little bit of that up there. So we're going to mix that crimson in. Pull it out flat. Okay, then we take our knife, cut across, and get a little roll of paint. Or a big roll of paint. Whatever you'd like. Okay, now we're going to come and highlight this. When I highlight my, I like to hold my knife very loosely with two fingers, my finger and my thumb, and then approach your, where we have the first place you want to highlight. And I like to use short, choppy strokes to kind of get it going sometimes. I find for beginners it's much easier instead of the Bob Ross style, which was this kind of long thing, which I can do as well, but for beginners I always find it's a little bit easier if we go a little slower and a little shorter strokes. So we'll come up here and we'll just touch right above the dark and gently, 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 just to get that first line started. Okay, there we go. Okay, and then we'll start again. Hold down. What do you think? There we go. that nice bright moonlight right there. Cut across again, little roll of paint. Just a little roll, okay? We're going to come up to this next peak. It should be right here. Again, just pull, pull. Leave some dark. I like to leave these dark areas because those are your crevices. Just like that. Look at that. See how that paint breaks right off? Another little roll of paint. Now this is where you got to think a little bit how you want to build your mountain. Oops, hitting the cord there. So the next place we're gonna maybe this mountain here comes down like this. Maybe cuts around a little bit, like so. Okay, leaving some crevices. We'll put some shadows in there as well. All right. Now maybe this one up here, straight down and kind of dissolves behind this one. Good. Again, maybe this thing comes around like that. The mountain's growing. All right, let's come back up here. Again, we're going to touch here. Oops. And just gently. All we want touching the canvas is the paint. That's it. So again, we're going to let this kind of dissolve off into here as it goes behind this little stack there. So, okay. So let's keep going. So we got this other peak over here. Now this peak we're going to bring and we're going to turn it right into this one. Okay? A little more paint. And we're just going to bring this one around as if it's coming this way. Okay. And then we'll bring it back over here eventually. I just want to give myself a little outline so I know what I'm doing. Alright, so let's keep this going. Keep the highlighting going. Bring this one over a wee bit. Turn those in. This mountain's going to grow off the canvas. So now we're going to make up a shadow to go with this. So we're going to basically just take our crimson and a little bit of white, and that'll be our shadow. Makes life easier. So we're going to mix that crimson and white, leave it marbled. So we have these variations in the color, like that. Cut across. Get that little roll however you want. We're going to come up here first. So we're going to start at this peak here and just drag it down gently. Oops. Get my smaller knife. Smaller knife, you can get in these tighter spots a little better. Here. I'm going to bring these two into each other. this one up like that. Some interesting colors. Thank you, Cheryl. Appreciate it. I'll add some dark into some of these spots. A little bit too bright in here. Let's darken some of that up. Got a little too bright on me. Okay. So come over here, get a little more of that highlight color, or shadow color, I'm sorry. Just a little bit. Just need a little bit. And just going to drag it this way a little bit. Good. It's spilling down in there just a little bit. And we're just going to play back and forth between these shadow and highlight colors. So we know in the back half here, this is going to come around and we're going to just kind of follow this line. And follow this all the way up. A little bright. Darken that up just a little bit. Take a little bit of that white we had just to bring it down a little bit into this. Just a wee bit. Edge that away a little bit. Very nice. Okay. We're going to go more shadow color over here. One thing about this painting technique, it's very forgiving. If you put a little too much, it's easy to fix it. Very easy to fix it. You want to have a little more color here, just a touch. Very good. Bring this out a little more. Play with this shadow a wee bit. Bring this up into this. And come back with some straight white and just touch up and a little brightness. And some spots. Just realized I want to come up here and pop a little more of a cloud over on this side here. there. Good. Let's blend him away just a little bit. That corner was lonely. There. Pink. All right, I'm going to drizzle some dark. This crevice. Very good. And even go back, I like to go back and just like drizzle a few spots of white on this back side. Maybe they're sticking up a little bit. Some high spots. Not much. Kind of gives it a little dimension. All right, now I want to touch up the top. Right here. Good. All right, next step. And I think I will come back to this a little later, and I always like to come back and kind of clean up some things here and there. So right now we're just going to kind of mist out this base. So what I'm going to do is just tap with the angles of the mountain. Very important to tap with the angles. So over here we'll go this way, here we'll go this way, just here a little bit. And then brush back up against what you just tapped. Don't come up too far up the mountain, just a little bit. There we go. Get a clean brush. Blender, and we're just going to blend this stuff out down here. Make that go away. And the rest of that we'll cover up. All right, so we've had a mountain in about 30 minutes. So next thing we're going to do, we're going to take our fan brush, just wipe that pink off, and then I'm going to come back here, do this mountain mix, and I don't mind if there's a little bit of pink in there because it'll make it show up a little bit. So we're going to chisel that edge real nice, get a nice sharp chiseled edge, and then we're going to start a line of trees. They're going to start here. I'm going to bring them up. Come this way. Let's switch fan brushes. This bigger one. And again, just loading up to a chiseled edge. Darken a lot of this in. And just working our way forward. Maybe these go off this way a little bit. We'll see. We'll figure it out. I'm just slinging paint. I don't know what's going to happen. We'll find out. We will find out. Let's darken this in a little bit. Just slinging paint here. We had no plan tonight. Actually, my plan was not to paint. Then I was like, no, I'm going to paint. Let's do it. Let's get some of these tops here. Very good. Now, I'm going to take my 1-inch brush and I'm going to go into just a little bit of this white that's on my brush, and we're going to pull some reflections down here. And get a little more. These will probably go off to nothing over there. No longer here. Brush off. Tap a little more white on there. Maybe up here is a little brighter. And then it gets a little darker here. So that goes back. There. Good. Wipe my brush off and then come back and just gently go across. Okay, let's keep moving. All right, so we got that there. Now I think over here, we're going to get rid of this hair first. There we are. Let's get rid of that hair. So over here, we're going to put maybe a little closer piece of land. Running out of room. All right. So we're going to take our fan brush and we're going to pop some trees on this side over here. So maybe this peninsula comes out to here, comes down, something like that. We'll fill all that in later. So let's take our fan brush. We'll make some evergreens. Okay, just using the corner. Okay, and then just using the corner, we'll work our way down the tree, side to side. All right, picking up some of that undercolor. Darken that just a little bit. And put one more right here. Cover this gap. Just using the corner of the brush. Good. All right, so a little more of this color, this dark. Okay, we're going to come here. Maybe this tree's going to be a little bit closer, a little bigger. Comes down there. And again, load that fan brush up real heavy. I like to get a nice edge on it. Come here. And we're just going to tap. Flip it. That fresh paint. Up to there. All right, some more paint. Maybe we've got a guy's a little further behind him here, a little shorter. All right, excuse me if I'm in the way. To me, the biggest problem is getting them started. Once you get it started, then it's easy. Very good. Okay, we got a bigger one right here. He pops all the way up. And I just give myself a little guideline. A lot of paint in the brush, a lot of paint. Smush them in. There we go. Excellent. And maybe there's even one, maybe even a bigger one right here. Drop him in. Excuse me. And load up that fan brush. A lot of paint, a lot of paint. Come in here. And then we're just tapping and going side to side. I like to start in the middle, come down a little bit and work my way out. Kind of in a pattern, side to side. Get down here, it doesn't much matter. Very good. And you can go back and touch up a couple of areas. There we go. Just punch in a couple spots. Feel it's necessary. Excellent. And we will see what we're going to do on this other side. I'm not sure. Darken this up a little bit. Excellent. Now I think what we're going to do on this side is just take the same brush we did the reflections with over here, and we're going to take a little bit of that crimson and into that little bit of that white. We're just going to pull, we'll make our own little reflection bank here. Really push that brush in. All right, knock it off. And then we're going to go across. Misty effect. Push that around a little bit. Good. I'm going to come back here. We're going to cut in some water lines. And with that, I'm just going to use this pink with a little bit of white. Just going to get a little bit on the edge of my knife. I just use titanium white when I do these. So we're going to start here. I'm just going to kind of cut it in. And work our way back this way. that. Very good. Maybe this goes off here. You can just really just scratch it with your knife, however you'd like. I'm going to come over here, and we're going to scrub in a little bit of a line here. It's off like that. Yeah, pyroclastic blast. Yeah, I've never painted a volcano, so that would be a little different for me, that's for sure. Well, actually, I did. I did kind of have a painting that was kind of volcano-ish. I don't know if I still have that or not. It looked like a blown-out volcano. I think it's old. But yeah, if you go to my my Instagram page, it's on there. Maybe scroll about 2 years back and you'll see it. All right, moving along. Yeah, if you guys could share it for me, share the link. Hit me some likes. Give me a follow. I appreciate it. Okie doke. So now we're going to come in on the other side. I'm going to need a little more color. These fan brushes take a lot of paint when you're doing your evergreens. But it's good to add a little bit of paint, and then if you need more, you can come back and add some more paint. Okay, so going back to that fan brush. We're going to hop the other side. And we're going to highlight these trees. We're going to add some bushes down here, some different things. So let's see here. So our next, maybe this peninsula is going to come maybe about here. And then we'll fill that in. We'll have a couple trees. Let me see here. Maybe here. Now we're going over this mountain. There's a lot of paint on there. So what I recommend when that happens, because I'm going to pick up a lot of that mountain paint, is to dip into a little bit of thinner. Just a little bit. So I just dipped a corner of this and then drop it on my palette. Just hardly anything. But that will allow us to paint over that mountain without picking up that undercolor. It should stick on top. Because a thinner paint will stick to a thick paint. Let's see if it works. So let's make our line again. Oh yeah, see, that's much better already. More paint. All right, let's knock this tree in. Flip it. That. Got a little crooked on me. Good. Okay, we'll put one here. Comes up to here. And again, a little thinner. Just a little bit, just a touch. Go back into that color. We still have to highlight all these things, so again, let's put another tree. Maybe he's over here, a little bit taller. And down here, it really doesn't matter. We're going to separate this all out with highlights when we get there. Maybe this guy comes a little bit lower. We shall see. We'll bring this down. Just kind of fill that in. That. Yeah, check it out, Kyle. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. The likes, the follows, and the shares. Awesome. Okay. All right, moving right along. All right. Thanks for the likes, guys. Appreciate it. Okay. Okay, we're moving. All right, now we're going to highlight these trees. Let's see here. A filbert brush. I think this filbert would work. So, to highlight these, I'm going to go into, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to grab a little shop towel here, just a little bit, and I'm going to soak up some of the oil on these just by tapping. It helps a little bit just to get some of that oil up so that our next step is easier. I should scrape it up the shop towels, and I'm just tapping to get some of this oil up. It's best to just hang one on here and let it sit for a little bit, but I don't have time for that. We'll do the same thing on this side. Very good. So now we're going to go into some, I'm just going to take a little bit of this clear gel that I have here to thin a highlight color, and we're just going to put it up here into this pinkish color that we had. We can make a little more of that with a little crimson and a little white. So it's a little runny, a little thin, and we're just going to tap our filbert brush. Get a lot of paint right on the edge. Okay, I'll come up here. Maybe we'll start back here with this little guy. I'm just touching, just a little bit. He's a little further back. To this next guy. Just a little bit. There we go. Maybe a little more white. And this guy, the moon's here. He's probably going to catch a little light on this side. Okay. Come over to this side. And darker down there. Once your paintbrush runs out a little bit, then you can start tapping the other side just a little bit. Oops. You don't want too much color on the other side. Just a little bit. All right, come over here. Again, we're just touching a few spots where we think the light might hit. Again, it's going to be pretty dark. So we'll just kind of fade these off into nothing. Again, just a little bit here and there. See what it looks like on the screen. It doesn't come in quite as good on the screen as I can see it here. It's a little dark. All right, now we'll come over to the other side. Okay, we'll come in here. More color. Just tapping some spots on this side of the tree. Okay, go to the other tree. Like that. You notice here, this tree back here we left black or dark, so you don't have to highlight everything. And you definitely, on these trees, it's nighttime, so they're really just getting light from the one side. And this one's a little out in front of these. And we're just touching. And you won't even see the trunks in these just because it's nighttime and dark. And again, we're just touching gently because it's hard to see these anyways. I'm going to go back to a couple of these spots. Okay, and I'm going to go in with some black to make a few corrections. I'm going to come over here. Well, that's going through. That's good. Just touch that up a little bit. Sometimes even the knife is easier to do here. Just touching up a few spots. Okay, very good. All right. Let me step back here for a second. Again, it's very difficult to see these. I think it'd be easier if I moved my camera. Can bring it in a little bit. See the highlights a little bit better. Bring it back. All right. And again, everything always looks better with, especially in these oil paintings, when you step back a little bit. When you're right up on top of it, it's hard to see. All right. Now I'm going to go into that same pinkish color that we've been, crimsonish, that we've been working with. Let me grab my 1-inch brush. There we are. The old Bob Ross 1-inch. So we are going to dip into a little bit of liquid white. So I'm going to dip into a little bit of liquid white. Really just about that much. And kind of put it on my palette here. And we're going to go up into this crimson and the white. And we're going to tap. I might even add a little bit of this white to it. All right, so we're going to tap, 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 tap. Let me see if that's enough. Might be a little dark. Let's see. Come over here, and we're just going to touch with the top corner. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Some pink bushes. A little more color. I like to do when I get this spread out, just clean it up, dump. This is all good color. Dump. That'll give us some different shades as well. Okay, back into, so we're going to go into this, tap, 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 tap. When you get a bush in your paint, that's good. That's what you got on your brush. So we'll come over here. Maybe this guy's up here. A little lighter. And you can form your bush out. Like so. Again, tap, tap, tap. Maybe it's a little darker here, maybe a little lower. So they're not all the same height. Like that. Again, we're just tapping. But you got to have enough paint in that brush. If you don't have enough paint, it ain't going to work for you. If you have enough paint, she'll come right off. Maybe this one cuts over in front of that one a little bit. Very good. And we'll even maybe, no, I'm not going to reflect those. Not yet, not yet. Come to the other side, need a little more color. This side might be a little brighter since it's more in the moon's direct light. So we'll come through. And again, we're just tapping like crazy. Tap, tap, tap. So maybe we got a bush here. Uh-oh. Battery's running low. Okay, so we got some more of this crimson. Gonna pull that out. Again, tap. Tap in there. Tap, 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 tap. Make sure you got a lot of paint in the bristles. Okay, maybe this guy comes here. And it's literally just a tap. And see how that color comes right off. All right, more white. We're going to lighten up a couple of these, make them a little more lighter. So it just takes that liquid white into that crimson. Okay, so maybe this boy comes here, kind of cuts off here. Gets darker. Perfect. And maybe a little darker. These bushes under the moonlight. And up here we'll get some of the lighter color. And again, when you're doing your bushes, leave the darks. That separates everything as we kind of build forward. Thanks, UPS. Appreciate it. Again, thanks for all the likes, people. All right. Very good. Now I'm going to come back here. Let me see. And we're just going to put a little bit of this pink. A few indications. Some trunks down here. Just a little bit. Just a little bit back there. This is how we fix. Come and get some of this dark mountain mix. This dark color that we used above. Okay. And we're going to come in here and we're just going to cover that up. Some more color. See that? And just actually look like that, it looks much better. We can come and take anything away we don't like. And now we've got reflections, and all I did was take a little bit of this dark and pull it down. And that looks much better to me. All right, so we're good. I'm happy with that over here. Darken that just a little bit on this side. And again, you got to step back, you got to look. It's easy to make changes if you want to in this technique. This needs to be darker over here. Very good. Okay. Now I'm going to come back with my knife and just with the slightest amount of white on here. Just a little bit of waterline. If you don't like a waterline, just rub it a little bit and she'll go away. There we go. That's a little better. I like that better. And you can put a little ripple in. I don't like to overdo the ripples, but you can certainly put in a little bit of a something like that. So there's a little bit of a current headed that way. And then you can take a blender brush and just kind of gently tone it down a wee bit. And if you don't like it, you can take some dark and you can get rid of it. But I like it, so we'll leave it in there. Kind of blend it over a little bit. And I'm going to add a little bit of highlight on some of these. It's very difficult to see them, so I'm going to a little bit of these so you can see them a little bit more. Yeah, these don't come through on my camera very well, but here in front of them they're bright. But for some reason my cheap phone camera, we're just going to brighten up a couple of these for you. There. Here. Just to bring them out a little bit. A little darker on this side. Just to bring them out a little bit so that you can see them. Darker down here. Darker at the base. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. Absolutely. Thanks for coming out and watching, and we will see you next time. All the best, my friends. All right, I hope you had fun with that. Again, I had so much fun doing it, putting it together for you, and we'll have many more. Please give me a subscribe here on YouTube, also Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Jeff's Oil Paintings. Check it out down below, and we'll see you on the next one. I appreciate all your support.